Okie dokie. I have most of his face shaded in, and right now it's still looking pretty chunky, but I've got most of the base layer in. I'm going to come in here and I need to darken his nose up, so I'm just going to, right where I already made the little nose lines, especially right here in the middle, darken that up, and then right down there, a tiny little upside down flat triangle. Okay. Even some little shaded hairs coming out from that area. Okay. The other thing I did is I finished putting in some hairlines on his ears, and now that I've done that, I realize this is not as dark as I want it to be. So, just gonna add a few more dark lines right there. Okay. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in and shade his ear. Now, his ear is not, the inside of his ear is not as hairy, so it's all right for you to do some back and forth lines. We don't have to add the hair first. I'm not going all the way to the edge of the ear on either side, if you notice that. I'm using kind of elliptical movements, very lightly, touching the paper, holding my sideways. Then dark right there. Okay, now as I get closer to the ear here, I'm going to intentionally come into these white spaces periodically, and that's going to give the illusion that we've got some little white fur sticking out on the edge there. And actually I'm going to come back in with my eraser. Look, I'm just kind of tapping it, jiggling it over that area. There, now we've got the illusion that he's got some little white fur coming out, and we can darken this up just a little bit inside here. Alright. We're going to leave these long hairs kind of lighter in the front, so I'm just shading around them. Good. And I'm going to come a little bit closer to the edge on the outside, but not nearly as dark. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to blend what I've already done, because I don't want it to end up with a real hard texture. I do want to still be able to see the hairs. You can definitely use a tissue if you prefer. It doesn't bother me to use a finger. If you have a blending stump, I'm sure that would be ideal. But right now, we're just going to kind of blend in, soften up the texture we already put down. I'm not blending the eye. I'm not blending the nose. Blend right there by the little fluffy cheeks. The edges here. Up the side of the ear. Now we're being careful not to drag this dirty graphite finger all the way across the paper. Keeping it where we want it. That is one downside to using your finger as a blending stump, is you end up needing to be much more careful not to blend and smear graphite on your paper. Okay. Oh, he's so cute. Alright, now that we have put the base layer of our fur down on his face, we're going to come back with a second layer, and this is going to help to give a little more detail and a little more depth to our paper. Especially right here in the middle on the bridge of his nose, I feel like we lost some of that darkness, some of that dark value. I'm going to come back in and add that back. Right now it's looking spotty. I don't want it to look spotty to end up with. I'm being careful with how hard I press with my pencil right now. Just kind of trying to get a feel for how hard do you need to press in order to leave the mark you want to leave. Going back up, back over his nose again. As it gets up here, it's starting to angle back. All the way up to his little forehead. And then I'm kind of blending it out towards the edge right there. the hairs right here start to go towards the eye, and then they go up and around the eye. And here they go down and kind of circle back. Bring this shadow down between the ears a little bit. I feel like I made that too dark there, so I'm just going to come back in with my eraser. Pull some of that out. I need some more dark over here on this ear. And right down here at the edge. And a little bit more behind these long ear hairs, and then inside the ear. There you go. Okay.